we're going to go into something that's pretty, I mean, all this true crime stuff, it's always really dark, but this one, this one was, it was just so bad. It was just so bad. Over a week ago, there was a body cam footage that was released, and it was about a dad who, dad who essentially murdered 3 of his sons. The dad showed up for a preliminary court hearing a couple days ago, and this is him right here, Chad Doerman, sitting there looking like a damn idiot. We don't know what the motive is yet, although I feel like usually when you hear about cases like this, it's usually getting back at your significant other. And it's really sad to hear when there are times where you hate your significant other and you want to cause them more harm than... Sorry, it's my dogs. It's really sad when you hate your significant other more than you love your children, which I just don't understand how this makes sense. But essentially, he killed 3 of his kids. And this is a preliminary hearing. They're going to go over a little bit more details than what was initially released. But before we get to that, I was able to find, look at these 3 little boys. Look at how young they are. They're like babies. 3 little boys. I don't know. I don't understand how this guy could have done this. I want to believe that it was like, maybe this guy was really mentally ill, but at the same time, there are people out there that are just really evil. And they just don't know how to control their anger. They don't know how to control their rage. So I also don't have a hard time believing that he did this out of spite and he wanted to get back at his significant other, possibly. It's just crazy. I think we found out from one of the initial court hearings that he had planned this for months. So I wonder what evidence they're going to have. But I honestly thought he was going to plead guilty and just plead guilty and then, get along with it. But he ended up pleading not guilty and, they're going to have to do a trial. Prosecutors already come out saying they're going to seek the DP. So we have 3 little boys here, Clayton, Hunter, and Chase Doerman. Clayton Doerman, 7 years old. Hunter Doerman, 4 years old. And Chase Doerman, 3 years old. Oh my God, they're so young. 3 brothers bonded together in life and now for eternity as God has reeled them into heaven for unending days of fishing, playing outside way past bedtime, laughing loudly, and nonstop giggling. They love unconditionally, sharing their big hearts with anyone who could make laugh, who they could make laugh and give love. Clayton, fondly known as Clayton Man, loved making Lego creations, riding his go-kart, telling jokes, singing and laughing, while loving his best pal, the dog that showed up in the body cam, Gatlin. His love language was giving gifts, whether it was be finding or creating or sharing treasures. He loved his family and often looked out for his brothers. Hunter, fondly known as Hunter Dog, loved going to the creek and catching frogs, and his love of baseball extended beyond the ball field to his bed, an attachment like an extra arm to connect him to his ball and glove as he slept. He loved calling his mom and sister, "Oh, pretty girls," and then he told them and telling them he loved them every day. Oh, this is so hard to read. Chase, fondly known as Chasers, loved swinging on swings, couldn't wait to be a baseball player, like his brothers. He loved playing dinos and pretending to be a superhero. He was the best cuddler, wanting his mama to stay close by to give her many hugs. He will forever be known as Mama's baby. They are survived by their loving family. So this is just like a whole sad ordeal. The mom witnessed like the whole thing. They have a sister as well, 16-year-old, who at some point had to leave the house and run to the fire station, try to flag down for help. Like, I don't know. This whole thing is it's just so traumatizing. I don't know. I just feel so bad for the family. And the mom having to witness this happen.
7, State of Ohio versus Chad C. Doerman. Are you Mr. Doerman? Yes. All right, Mr. Myers, Greg Myers is present as well.
Yes.
Ugh, just hearing his voice too. Ugh. Look at his demeanor. Ugh.
Mr. Stephen Haynes is present. Mr. Mark DeColby, the prosecutor for the county, Ms. Laura Barron Allen, and Mr. Clay Tharp, correct?
Correct.
All right, let's make that record.
Certified lead counsel. We've already talked with Mr. Doerman. He is indigent, eligible for public defender representation. We'd ask the court to appoint us. I think it'd be appropriate.
All
right. So this is his public defenders. Man, they're like, ugh, I don't know. They must be hating it right now. They got to do their jobs.
Yeah, so ordered. I've signed that entry. I'll instruct the clerk, and she knows this, to send a notice to the Supreme Court of this indictment, but I want to put that on the record. Also, Mr. Haynes and Mr. Myers, there's a form from the Supreme Court. It's called an appointment form of trial counsel. I think the PD or public defender prepares that. Do you know what I'm speaking
Yes,
of?
Your Honor, Mr. Haynes and I will take care of that afterwards on record today.
That's good.
All
Okay.
right, so just paperwork stuff.
I think it falls to the court then to forward that to the Ohio Supreme Court.
I think you're right. And then the court will send its own entry to the Supreme Court verifying that,
All right, here are the
Thank
charges.
you, Your Honor. And yes, I could absolutely do that for the court. I wasn't sure since counts 1 through 3 are all charged under 290301A, if you'd like to address them in group.
individually, yeah, thank you.
Count 1, aggravated murder pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 290301A. There are multiple aggravating circumstances specifications attached to the underlying charge, including a victim under 13 specification, force of conduct specification, felony murder specification, and firearm specification. The possible penalty, if convicted on the underlying charge of aggravated murder, as well as any of the aggravating circumstance specifications, is recommendation of death, life without parole, life with the possibility of parole after 30 years, life with the possibility of parole after 25 years. The firearm specification carries with it 3 years mandatory, which must be served prior to and consecutive to any imposed prison sentence. There's also a possible fine of $25,000. If convicted of aggravated murder without
Yeah, we don't
any
care about the
aggravating
fine.
circumstance specification, the possible penalties would be life without parole, life with the possibility of parole after 30 years, life with the possibility of parole after 25 years, life with the possibility of parole after 20 years. And again, the firearm specification would carry that 3 years mandatory, which must be served prior and consecutive to any imposed prison sentence. Again, same fine.
All right. Does the defense agree with the recitation relative to count 1, Mr. Myers and Mr. Haynes?
We do.
And Mr. Doerman, do you understand that? All right, as to count 2, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Count 2 is also charged pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 290301A.
Oh, every time we listen and hear him talk, like, and if you guys watch the body cam footage, him in the body cam footage, him talking in the body cam footage, oh, I don't know. It's just goosebumps. It was his demeanor and everything.
Aggravated murder and unspecified felony. And again, there are multiple aggravating circumstances specifications attached to that charge.
Wait, hold on a second. Ohio mom was recently arrested for murder after leaving her 16-month-old daughter home alone. 16-month-old? As she went for a 10-day vacation. The baby passed away due to dehydration. Hello? Did she not have friends, family members? Why did she just bring the baby with her? Listen, I know some people leave their cats when they go on vacation for like a couple of days, you know? They have like the auto feeder. You have the kitty litter thing that like does like self-cleaning thing. But a 16-month-old? What do you expect a 16-month-old to do? Home alone. What do you do? Like leave fish sticks in the oven? Was this person an idiot?
The victim under 13 specification, course of conduct specification.
I haven't heard about that
felony
one
murder
yet.
Specification and a firearm specification. The possible penalties if convicted of the underlying crime of aggravated murder, as well as any of the aggravating circumstance specifications, would be death, life without parole, life with the possibility of parole after 30 years, or life with the possibility of parole after 20.
Hey, Queen. We don't know motive yet. But when I hear about cases like this, when you have a family annihilator, or, you know, I don't know if he planned on murdering his wife and his stepdaughter. But when you hear about cases like this, I feel like it's usually because maybe the wife is going to leave him. Maybe he feels that he's going to lose everything. And you know what? He's just like, fuck it. I don't know. We don't know. But when I hear about cases like this, it's usually because he wants to get back at the wife somehow. Make her feel all this pain and agony. It could be why he left her alive.
25 years.
But we don't know yet.
The firearm specification, again, is 3 years mandatory, which must be served prior to and consecutive to any imposed prison sentence and a possible fine of $25,000. If convicted of
No, look at this law enforcement right here. Having to sit next to this guy. I feel like he's so disgusted having to be near this guy. He's like, look at the looks he's giving him.
the underlying aggravated murder charge without any aggravating circumstance specification, the
Dude, I'd be looking at him in disgust too.
possible penalties are life without parole, life with the possibility of parole after 30 years, life with the possibility of parole after 25 years, and life with the possibility of parole after 20 years. Again, the firearm specification is that 3 years mandatory, as well as a $25,000 fine.
Thank you. Mr. Myers and Mr. Haynes does the, okay. And Mr. Doerman, you understand. As to count 3, Ms. Barron Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. Count 3 is also charged pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 290301A, aggravated murder, unspecified felony. It also
Yeah, my energy is the same as this dude's over here. Just look at this guy. Every time he talks, his demeanor.
carries with it multiple aggravating circumstance specifications, the victim under 13 specification, course of conduct specification, and felony murder specification, as well as that firearm specification. The possible penalties if convicted.
Does the defense agree with the possible penalties that have been recited? Mr. Haynes, for the record, Mr. Haynes, Mr. Doerman, you understand? Thank you, Ms. Barron Allen. As to count 4, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Count 4 is charged pursuant to
32-year-old pleaded not guilty to 9 counts of aggravated murder, 8 counts of kidnapping, and 4 counts of felony assault.
Ohio Revised Code Section 290301B, again, aggravated murder and unspecified felony. And there are multiple aggravating circumstance specifications attached to that count as well. The same aggravating circumstance specifications, the victim under 13, course of conduct specification, and felony specification, the 3 years mandatory, and the same fine of $25,000.
Thank you. Mr. Myers or Mr. Haynes, you agree. Mr. Doerman, you understand? Thank you. As to count 5, Ms. Barron Allen.
Thank you, Your Honor. Again, count 5 is charged pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 290301B, aggravated murder and unspecified felony. Also attached are multiple aggravating circumstance specifications, the victim under 13 specification, course of conduct specification.
So they're going to read through all of this.
Thank you, Mr. Myers and Mr. Haynes. Mr. Doerman, you understand? Thank you, Ms. Barron Allen. As to count 6, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Again, count 6 is charged pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 290301B, aggravated murder and unspecified felony. Attached to that count are multiple aggravating circumstances.
Thank you. Does Mr. Myers and Mr. Haynes, you agree with that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Doerman, you understand? All right. Thank you, Ms. Barron Allen. As to count 7, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Count 7 is charged pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 290301C, aggravated murder, unspecified felony. Again, multiple aggravating circumstance specifications attached, including victim under 13 specification, the course of conduct specification, felony murder specification, and firearms.
Thank you, Mr. Haynes. Mr. Doerman, do you understand?
I just want to see a stupid response because in the other hearing, the hearing before this one, at some point he was like trying to like eke out some tears and it seemed like nothing came out. So his face went back to being straight again. So I don't know. People were saying there were crocodile tears. I just want to know if he's going to try to shed any tears this time.
Thank you, Ms. Barron Allen. As to count 8, please.
Because you know what? When he killed his 3 kids, there was no tears coming out of him as he was being arrested. He sat on the porch with the rifle and he was just sitting there. They arrested him and all he cared about was the police, not messing with the dog. He said he was uncomfortable. He wanted to sit up. He wanted the wallet out of his pocket.
Thank you, Your Honor. As to count 8, again, that is charged pursuant to Revised Code Section 290301C, aggravated.
Mr. Myers and Mr. Haynes. Mr. Doerman, you understand? I'm sorry. Thank you. As
Yeah, you sit there and listen to all these counts.
to count 9, Ms. Barron Allen.
Again, count 9 similarly is charged pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 290301C, aggravated murder and unclassified felony. Attached are multiple aggravating circumstance specifications.
Mr. Doerman, you understand? Thank you, Ms. Barron Allen. As to count 10, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Count 10 is charged pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 290501A3 as kidnapping, a felony of the first degree. There is also a firearm specification attached to that count. There is a presumption for prison attached to that count, and Reagan Tokes were imposed prison sentence and a fine of $20,000.
All right, thank you, Mr. Haynes. Mr. Doerman, you understand? All right.
So this part is going to get really hard to listen to. They're going to get into the state's going to get into a little more detail of what happened. Just a little bit more, though. We're not going to get like a whole lot of detail.
Thank you. As to count 12, please.
Count 12, again.
Mr. Doerman, do you understand? Thank you. As to count 13,
All right, same shit. So it's just going to be him shrugging his head. I don't know.
please.
Count 13.
I don't think there's many
also
cheers
charged
coming out.
pursuant to Ohio.
Thank you. Mr. Myers or Mr. Haynes? Mr. Doerman, you understand? Thank Mr. Haynes, thank you. Mr. Doerman, you understand? Thank you. As to count 16, please.
16 is also charged pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 2905.
Jeez, this is lengthy.
Kidnapping and felony of the first degree, as well as a firearm specification. Again, there is a presumption for prison, and Reagan Tokes would apply.
Haynes?
We agree, Your Honor.
Mr. Doerman, you understand? All right, I think that covers the entirety of the indictment, Ms.
It does,
Bennett.
Your Honor.
All right. At this time, Mr. Myers and Mr. Haynes, based upon the recitation of the indictment and all the possible charges and possible sentences, what is the plea of your client at this time?
Plea is not guilty.
All right,
Reserved for later this week.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Because
I didn't hear what he said afterwards, but not guilty. I thought they were just going to do guilty. But I guess if you're facing the death penalty, possibly, you don't want to just go for a guilty. You want to try to like fight your way out of it. Bro, wasting time.
of the nature of,
Judge, she said, I think Mr. Myers touched on it, that it has been quite 24 hours since he was indicted or read the indictment. So he's going to wait for 24 hours.
okay.
Probably going to be like not guilty because of insanity. The Letitia
you.
thing.
Would you please, Mr. Haynes, step up? And then if you and Mr. Myers could sign as attorneys for Mr. Doerman, and then have Mr. Doerman sign. Are you comfortable with that, Mr. Jacoby?
The Constitution says we're proof is evident and...
Continue.
Great.
Go on, continue.
Judge, I think...
Make a record.
Thank you, Your Honor. The court needs to have some understanding of the facts. What we have here is the planned slaughter of 3 little
Planned.
boys, ages 7, 4, and 3. The first one shot was the 4-year-old, shot in the house 2 times, then sustained 2.
Why 2 times? Why 2 times? This is where I think that he really wanted to hurt the wife. Why twice?
2 bullet wounds to the head causing his death. The second child shot was a 7-year-old who fled the residence, ran some 300 feet from the residence, and was gunned down from behind.
Can you imagine chasing? I don't know, man. When I was 7 years old, what was I, in 2nd grade? I wouldn't even be able to, I don't even know how you even process this as a kid. Because when you're a kid, your parents are supposed to be, you know, people that you're safe with. But you have to process that, like, your dad's dangerous. He's got a gun. He killed my younger brother. Now I need to run. Like, God, that's just so crazy. It's so wild. And the fact that he did run and this dumb fuck chased after him. I don't know. It's just so sickening. Yeah, I did see the interview with the neighbor saying that, like, he's not a very pleasant guy. He was always, like, yelling at his wife and kids, yeah.
He then approached this little boy who's injured, incapacitated, alive, shot him in the head twice from close distance.
What is this twice thing? Is it like, I want to make sure you're dead? This is what I'm going to do to make sure you're dead. Shoot twice. So not only was he already injured, he goes up to him and shoots twice.
There were power burns on the boy's head. And then he went after the 3-year-old. And there was a struggle with the mother. He ripped the child from the mother's arms and put a bullet in his head. close range powder burns on the 3-year-old boy's head. Your Honor, those facts are important for the court to know in terms of this being a capital case. We find, Your Honor, my conclusion is that the proof is evident and the presumption is great, and that he be held without bail.
All right. Thank you. Defense has nothing to add?
No, Your Honor.
All right, the court's going to order based upon Article 1 of the Ohio Constitution, Section 9, that's been amended on November 8th of 2022, that the bond in this case be no bail at the present time. And what the court's going to do is prepare an entry that contemplates that, because my normal judgment entries do not contemplate Article 1, Section 9. So we'll put one together indicating the court's order of no bail. Anything from the defense at this time? Anything else before the court notes that the case is assigned to Judge Ferentz? And the court date, we want to work around schedules. Do we have a date?
Originally, it was set for July 5th. Is there another day?
Is that a bad day?
It's up to the attorney.
Can everyone do July 5th?
I can do that, Judge.
Yes,
Yeah.
Was July 5th again? When they assign it to a different judge or something? The case is assigned to Judge Ferentz in the court date. I'm going to work on the schedules of a date, July 5.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Myers?
The 5th would work. I might indicate, as I'm now reminded by co-counsel Mr. Haynes, we're before this court the following day on the appeal court's case, and I would wonder if
The 10th.
I mean, obviously, I'll work with both courts.
Well, we want to work with your schedule, but I think the heightened security is a little too much for us to have both of them
Oh, I see.
at the same time, because they're both death penalty cases.
Who did the other DP take case? Ohio. I think Utah.
So
But I know you come a long way, but,
that's all right.
all right?
Part of the job.
All right.
So we'll be down here on the 5th for a pretrial then?
Yes.
Okay.
And we're looking at a time, because I'm trying not to insert it on his regular docket so that Judge Ferentz has some. Thank you.
Mr. Doerman at length yesterday.
Thank you. Will the defense have any issue, I'm just asking, waiving time till the next hearing?
No, you're.
Anything else?
Any questions, Mr. Doerman? All right. Court's in recess for this purpose.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh, what's this?
Probably
Oh, the interview's in here. Oh, thank you, Law and Crime. This is the DA.
30 years ago.
You guys keep saying that you planned this for months. Can you guys elaborate on it yet?
What I can tell you is this. First and foremost, I want to start out by expressing the deepest sympathy I have for this family, for this unspeakable tragedy. I can't go into a whole lot of facts, all right, because this is a death penalty case, and my goal is to have this man executed for slaughtering these 3 little boys.
I wonder when's the last time they executed someone in Ohio?
It is, but let me try to figure out a way to put this. It is an incomprehensible
2018.
act of horror that he perpetrated on this family. So again, that is my most important focus right now, is to ensure that they are protected and they're safe. And my hope and wish and prayer is that someday they will be able to find peace.
Oh, that's gonna be so hard, man. That's three little boys. I hope she does find peace too, but man, yeah.
But factually,
I don't
I've said what
know.
I said on the record, and I'm going to stick with that, all right?
Why was there, with how complicated the death penalty is in Ohio right now, and how much extra work it adds to your office, why was it important for you to seek this?
I'll let the facts speak for themselves. He slaughtered his 3 children in the most brutal fashion you can imagine, as I mentioned in court. The extra work is no extra work at all. It's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
This merits our attention, our devotion, and our effort.
Thoughts on that initial not guilty plea?
Yeah.
That has to be done. That has to be done. Any other questions?
Yeah, I guess if you're facing death penalty, I mean, you're not going to be like, okay, fine, I'll do guilty. He's going to try to fight his way out of it.
I'm about to wrap it up. Thank you.
All right, DA, you got a lot to do. We're rooting for you. The last time they executed someone in Ohio was in July 18, 2018. But, I mean, it was for, when was he arrested? The state's last execution was July 18, 2018, when Robert Van Hook was put to death for killing a man he met in a Cincinnati bar in 1985. Was he sitting on death row for that long, or did they like arrest him way later?